Hey, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Vox and Jed Fight About It. This is episode... God, what are we on? 35?
34.
I don't think we're on 35 yet.
34.
Okay. 34? Are you sure?
I'm certain, because the
34.
Bush episode was 33.
Right. Yeah, no. Let's talk about the Bush episode a little bit. Let's just get straight into things. Because
we'll do
Bush was an alright guest to have
guest
on.
review.
Bush was definitely not our best conversationalist. I think that like is a folly of just. It's not necessarily a personal flaw in Bush as much as it was like he just does not quite. We don't quite have that rapport with him, and he doesn't have like the natural click in, and so it's like you know the typical guest suffrage thing of just like, oh man, we gotta figure out this guy's like speaking patterns long term when speaking to an audience, you know. And that was a thing. Not to mention, like, we've had some really great conversationalists on the show, and so, like, believe me when I say this is not a bad thing. Definitely not our best conversationalist, but he was a good time. It was an alright time.
Yeah, I don't think it was at fault of Bush as much as I feel like he felt very preoccupied with a lot of the stuff that had happened in like
which is valid.
The past and how he wants to come back, but
which is valid because he got an evacuation order even during the show, or like just previous the show, and was like, hey guys, can we push it back like 10 minutes? And then like 10 minutes later he shows up and goes, sorry, I was dealing with the fact that there was an evacuation order because Bush lived in range of like the LA fires that were happening, and there was a chance that, you know, something bad could happen there. But he was willing to stick through it under order of evacuation to be on the show. And despite us telling him that we can re-record later. We can totally re-record later. And he was like, no, we're doing it. And so, like...
I came very close to just vetoing it, of just, like... Except for the fact that somebody came in and was like, okay, the evacuation order is no longer in effect for your area. And so I was like, okay, that's fine. But I came very close. I came very close to just being like, no, I'm not risking it. Because it was like, yeah, well, I've got 3 hours to record. And I was like, you've got 3 hours to pack up and leave, not record. So,
yeah,
I don't know. Because it is possible with those evacuation orders that it's always like pushed forward, where it's like, okay, it said leave in 3 hours. You should really leave in 1. And I was just like, I didn't want to really risk that. But thankfully it wasn't in effect. And
yeah, no, he got that evacuation order. He got the news that it was lifted like a minute before recording, like right before. And so we went ahead with it and it was all good and all fine. But obviously with that and a bunch of like the personal stuff Bush is going through at the moment, it's like, it's no wonder. The guy was a little preoccupied, and that's all right. I don't mean to open this episode immediately shit talking Bush, but we had a good episode.
Yeah, of course.
We had a good episode, I think. It was a fine episode, and we talked with Bush, and we had him back on the show, and the good news is, the best news of all, Jed, is that our debts are paid. We don't owe anybody an episode slot. We have no more like pre-promised episode slots anymore. In fact, I don't know who we're having on as a guest next week.
You gave me so much shit about, like, you can't promise people episodes, and then we went for the strict no returning episodes, and then immediately you talk to Bush and you give him one, and I was like, fuck!
Look, Bush has acknowledged his pushiness in this. Bush has acknowledged his pushiness in this, Jed. I think you would have broken just as easily if every conversation you had with him started with, when can I be on the show? Give me an episode date. Give me an episode number right now. Like, I feel like you would crack too, especially if you were on a 2-hour web fishing stream with him where, like, it was either answer the question or this will be the rest of the stream.
yeah, that's true. I forgot I missed that web fishing stream. Yeah.
No, we had to move on to talking about better things like round trip weddings and destination weddings, and are you supposed to bring a gift to those for like an hour on that episode, or not episode, on that stream rather. But yeah, no, having Bush on was good. But it's good to be out of our like in debt to the people era. The one thing I did notice about many
Bush
episodes scheduled forward. It's good to like have the future be whatever it can be now, you know? if that makes any sense. Anyway, what were you saying?
Yeah. The one thing, and again, this isn't an issue against Bush. I would say this was more on our fault because we're the host of the show. But this was the first experience that I had where I didn't get to all my questions. And normally it's like, oh, I didn't use like any of my questions. This is great. And I kind of realized that there is a certain point where, as the host, you have to kind of lead it back around to like looping back around to the point of the episode. Because I feel like we were retreading a lot.
We just didn't get a lot of good points to move forward. We didn't get a lot of good points to move forward, and that's okay. It's all right. I don't mind that we didn't get a lot of good points to move forward, but I do feel like the episode was worse off for us not getting to all of our questions. But to be fair, we have asked most of those questions to Bush before last time he was on the show, so that'll be.
It was kind of a toss up of everything that was causing kind of a disconnect for me. It was just a big I was much
chaotic mess of an episode. It was a big chaotic mess of an episode. But while the episode was messy, I do not regret the time I spent making it. I don't know, I had fun. I had a decent time making it.
I had a good time.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Yeah. But that was our guest review, I suppose. That was our guest performance review. And, you know, I love doing these because they allow us to, like, sort of, like, decompress out of, like, what did we think of this guest? Did we have a good time? All right, awesome. Let's go. It's a good start the episode topic. It really is. I love these. But moving on from start the episode topics to other topics, I guess. Gosh, do you want to start big? You want to start with a big piece of news that might take up the next hour of the show? Because I could honestly talk about this for like an hour.
I think so. I think it's best we move here because the earlier in the episode, the better. Just because this announcement came out like today,
and so we got how many hours ago, and we haven't spoken.
Yeah, we've got a lot of thoughts, and it's brand new information.
I think it was around noon. I don't know. I saw it when it was like 4 hours old, and I watched it at like 4 p.m. So. It's crazy. Yeah. Okay, so if you're wondering what it is, the Nintendo Switch 2 got announced. So for background, I saw a post like a week ago that was a leak, and Nintendo is the worst about these kinds of leaks, or at least the community is the worst about these kinds of like fake leaks, where it's like, oh yeah, sure, the Switch 2 is getting announced on the 17th. Yeah, sure thing, buddy. Absolutely. But I held on to that because I was like, I don't know. I haven't heard any leaks in a while. Maybe the Switch 2 is real and it will be announced January 17th. And maybe it will come out in like March or something or other. And maybe it will have all these features that they listed. But the prediction was that the Switch 2 would be announced on the 17th of this month, released in March. And that it would launch with a new Mario Kart game and a new 3D Mario. And then, like, a Zelda would be in the works, too, I think, was in there somewhere.
Yeah.
And what we ended up getting today, Shadow dropped, with no announcement that they were, like, even going to show it off at all today. They didn't say a fucking word about it. It wasn't pre-planned. They just, bam, put out a video titled A Special Message from Nintendo, or, like, an update from Nintendo or something, and then they changed the title later to fucking Switch 2 reveal. I think I could honestly believe that they were going to put it out on the 17th and then heard about the leaks and were like, we did it 16th. Ha, that'll show them, you know?
Yeah.
But so there's so much to talk about here because they were right that the Switch 2 exists and they were right that there's a new Mario Kart. We'll talk about Mario Kart in a minute. Let's talk about this. Let's start with
I know exactly where to Switch start.
2 because we have opinions about the idea of a Switch 2 and I kind of want to give that to you. So let me let you start this one out.
You had a prediction on like 3 episodes ago when we were doing the New Year's predictions. I think you did about how the Switch 2 was not going to be a Switch 2. They were going to do something new. It wasn't going to be, handheld and dockable. There's no goddamn way they're going to go back to that. And they fucking did. And I'm pissed about it. I'm actually a little bit pissed about it.
I had like a fallback resolution on that one of like, if it is like a dockable Switch style system, it won't be explicitly called the fucking Switch 2. That's stupid.
Yeah, that was your like.
It's literally the Nintendo Switch 2. They've genuinely put a fucking like stock font 2 right beside the Switch logo, and that's the new logo. It's the Switch 2, I guess.
Oh, man.
Yeah, no, I've been so vehemently against the idea of a Switch 2 because people have been saying this since 2017 when the Switch was announced of just like, well, where do we go from here?
Mm-hmm.
You know, once we have a console that is so convenient that you can like use it as a handheld or a docked console without any real downside. I mean, the downside is the hardware is a little worse than it would be on just a console.
Yeah.
But it's better than it would be on just a handheld. And so, but like, it's this nice little middle ground, and everybody was like, oh, but I don't possibly see where Nintendo could go from here. They're just gonna have to keep releasing the Switch forever. And it's just like, yeah, no, that is like the logical conclusion there, because why would you move on to a different gimmick if this one is like working really well? But over the years, I've sort of waned on that, especially. Like, I think if they announced Switch 2 in like 2019, I would have been fine with it. But it's the fact that the Nintendo Switch era has been going on since 2017, damn near a decade ago, and we're just entering Switch era part 2, assuming we'll have another fucking decade of this shit.
I'm pissed.
But I've been against Switch 2. I've been against the Switch 2 for like years, since like forever, because I was like, man, we need to be able to move on. We need to be able to move on from this, you know? And Nintendo disagrees, apparently. They think we can hang out in the Switch era for another console generation, and it's kind of disheartening.
The best part about it is that I fucking know that the Switch has significantly worse hardware than the fucking Steam Deck. Like, it has significantly worse hardware than the Steam Deck, and I'm pretty sure it has similar hardware on par to the original Xbox One, because the Switch had hardware on par to the Xbox 360, I think.
No, you've gotten that wrong.
Did I get that wrong?
The Switch's launch Xbox One.
Okay,
that's about where they're at. They're still like the whole complaint there was that it was genuinely like a generation behind when it released. You know,
I'm pretty sure it's gonna be the same thing. Like, there's no way it's on par with a PS5 or something. I don't know. I'm kind of angry about it.
Dude,
I don't think it's gonna be as much of an
Nintendo
upgrade.
console. Predicting that a Nintendo console will have last generation level specs in it is like predicting that your newborn baby will come out with a nose. It's way more likely than not that that's the case.
Yeah.
You know?
I don't know, though. Like, I feel like they should have learned by now that, like, that's just going to set you behind it, especially if this is their track for, the next 8 years. You disagree?
I disagree. I think releasing outdated hardware for a system you intend to last 8 years is setting yourself up for failure a little bit. But I mean, it's Nintendo, all right? You're not working on clock speed here. You're not worried about CPU clock speed when you look at a fucking Nintendo console. Nintendo is almost entirely about their software, which is part of why this announcement kind of rang bad to me. That Nintendo's so about their software, because it's just like, how many pores do we put on fucking Mario before he's good and done? You know, it's like these games are so stylized. Pretty much every Nintendo franchise is so like hyper stylized, first party wise at least, that like we're at a point now where you can make that kind of stylization look good under pretty much any conditions. I hope it's better hardware than the Switch. Mm-hmm. Good God, I hope it is. I'm not saying that good hardware isn't a good thing, because like every third-party title on Switch, like Mortal Kombat 10 or X or whatever they were calling it, when that got a Switch release, it ran at like 10 FPS.
It was actually
That's
11.
Why they called it that. It was 11. Okay, yeah, no. But like the Switch ports of like third-party games since launch have been very laughable to look at and go like, oh, well, that's stupid. Except for like indie games that again are typically so stylized that it doesn't really matter, you know?
But that's the thing, is that if they want to, which they very clearly do, it's very obvious that they want to bring like games like Red Dead Redemption 2 that my PC that is worth probably $3,000 barely can run on max specs.
That was another part of the prediction that Red Dead 2 would be a launch title,
Red Dead
like a Red Dead 2 port.
And I think so, because, Red Dead Redemption, the remake was originally put onto Nintendo consoles, and it would make no sense to or it wasn't originally put on there, but like the remake was put for Nintendo.
No, they released the first way that you could get the Red Dead remake was on the Switch, and it's just like, this makes no goddamn sense. The Switch over a PC release? This genuinely makes no fucking sense for this title. And
that's the thing.
I was kind of flabbergasted by it. But Nintendo is clearly trying to get third parties more involved with their system, and they've pretty much succeeded by way of the Switch is the best-selling console. That like everybody, not only does everybody I know who likes video games own one, most of them own more than one. Dude, this is, if you're gonna put your game out on a system, like on a home console, and you want it to be played, and you want to put it in front of like the biggest audience possible, you put it on the Switch. Just because like everyone ages like 3 to like 99 has access to one in one way or another, you know? But my point is that like I don't know. I don't see them pushing for hardware because they've never really been super in their bag when it comes to third-party AAA releases. And so, like, again, that's not what I would buy a Nintendo console for. If I were buying a Nintendo console, I'm not going to go, oh yes, my Red Dead 2 machine that runs it worse than my PC or my PlayStation could. You know, I just don't see why,
but like
I would get that for that.
I think that's Nintendo's biggest downfall is the fact that they're trying to also like, oh yeah, we also have Red Dead and, you know, games like these.
You're saying that like if they're not going to commit to that path, then they're going to flop on it. Like, I agree with that. I agree that like if what they want to do is be a home console for everybody and have all these third party IPs on them, then yes, they need to commit to having better hardware and better developer environments and better usability. We need to get more than 10 FPS in a game that like came out a decade ago that just got ported to your console. We need better than that. But I say this in that like I say this because it's like, again, I just don't see anybody buying for that. And I think I feel the other way where it's just like I don't think they should change their like hardware strategy. I think that they should change their software strategy to lean more first party again and give us things like a new Mario Kart that they're giving us, or like a new WarioWare or a new Metroid Prime, which, by the way, fun thing about Metroid Prime, speaking of the Switch too, Metroid Prime 4 pre-orders got canceled on Amazon recently. Like, that product has just been pulled as an option, so people are speculating that like they're going to push Prime 4 to the Switch 2 and make it a Switch 2 exclusive. This does give me hope for emulation.
They're doing the fucking Breath of the Wild thing.
This gives me a lot of hope for emulation, this whole thing, because it's like, if they're like doing... It's the same general architecture, I assume, so it's like, you know, unless they've like completely redone the inside. But like, even then, it runs Switch 1 games, so it can't be that hard to figure out how to emulate it. But with Ryujinx gone and like the other one, I forget what it's called, Yuzu. I think Yuzu's been gone for a while. And so they're like, you know, good luck finding a way to do it. But it gives me hope that they'll figure out a way to do that, and I maybe won't have to buy one. But I'm a sucker who will probably buy one anyway.
I don't know. I might pick one up, but like, excusing software, because we're already talking about hardware, even outside of like performance hardware, like the GPU, the CPU, the RAM, etc. I think the actual hardware of it is kind of fucking lame. The magnets on the way that they hold the Joy-Cons onto the system.
Oh god, let's talk about
dangerous
the actual
as hell. I feel
now. Yeah, dude. Like, I just got a video this morning from somebody who's like a repair technician who like repairs electronics and is like, dude, are they fucking stupid? Why would they change it from like a rail system that holds them to like just magnets and a slot? The biggest thing, like, as somebody who repairs these things, the biggest issue that ends up happening to them is kids getting pissed and, like, balling their hands holding it and wrenching them fucking backwards off the thing. That only becomes easier with this design. And I hope not, because they've kind of clunked it out a little bit. They've kind of buffed out the plastic bit that connects to it so far that, like... I don't think you're doing that accidentally. I don't think you're breaking that super accidentally. I don't think it'll be as big of a failure point as people think it will be.
Although the one that I saw, that like port that they have, that like just strip of motherboard, that's gonna snap. I'm calling it now. That's gonna be the first thing to go. That thing's gonna snap. They should have done a system that had flush like connectors with maybe on the controller prongs that came out and would be pushed against it. Like, I don't know why you chose just like a motherboard like rail thing.
Maybe again, this was like a CG depiction of this console. We've yet to see a real one. So there's a good chance. Yeah. There's a good chance that it doesn't quite actually look like that, and that this is, I mean, it's obviously a simplified render because there are things like, we've seen the controllers for real in passing in leaks, and like, there are buttons that are like left unlabeled that have labels on the real actual console. And so what I'm hoping for is that there is some kind of locking mechanism. It's just not depicted in this for some reason. For some reason, they've just done it wrong. I hope so. Because I don't know what kind of crack they'd have to be smoking to go, yeah, we should have the Joy-Con instead. You know how we designed this like weird metal rail system that like clamps them in and grips them as tightly as humanly possible, and yet they still fall off? I think this time we should just encourage that and make it so that like, after a few years, there's just zero shot you're ever using this thing in handheld mode ever again. You know?
I think they had this moment where they were like, oh shit, the thing that kept breaking on the Switch was that little plastic connector pin that locks in. Let's just get rid of the pin. Let's just make it not lock. And it's like, dude, you're dumb. You fixed the problem the wrong way. I don't know. Yeah, it makes me a little pissed.
I have a theory though, because last time, those pins are the reason that, like, locking rail and the pins where a Joy-Con comes in, some of those are data pins, obviously, to tell your console, like, hey, by the way, this is a purple Joy-Con, so make sure you display it purple where needed. And people were able to utilize those as, like, that goes down to the goddamn root of the system, and thus you can homebrew through that. And so I'm kind of under the assumption that, like, at least part of the reason for this change is to change how those pins are laid out, so it's either harder or impossible to do that specific thing. Which would be weird, because they already patched it out in later Switch revisions, like the OLED that still has the, like, clicking and shit. You know? It would be weird, but I wouldn't be shocked if it was, like, a preventative measure to keep people from finding shit like that again. But the pins are so much more visible now, though. You know?
Yeah.
The pins are so visible now, and so it's just, like, I don't really understand how they thought this was a good idea from any angle. Every excuse I could think of for why it would be like this falls flat as soon as I like think about it again, you know? And so I really don't know why they've done it that way. But otherwise, people are saying the screen might maybe be OLED or it might not. This teaser really told us like nothing, by the way.
Yeah.
The shit was really like,
we got
the controllers have a few more buttons on them. People are talking about how you can take the controller. The controller has like an optical like mouse sensor, one of them does, or maybe both of them do, where you can lay it flat on its side and use it like a mouse for like a Mario Paint-esque thing, if that's what you wanted to do.
Yeah.
Which is, I think it's pretty cool.
Very Nintendo.
I think it's gonna be hella uncomfortable to use over like an actual mouse peripheral. But I think it's at cool first in concept, the idea of like, yeah, this game can support mice. Click, bam, done. I've got a mouse. You know?
Yeah.
Just that easy. Even if it's like a shitty one, you know? What's up?
Oh, God, that means we're going to get another Nintendo branded mouse, which we haven't had since the goddamn fucking N64.
This is their answer to a Nintendo branded mouse is the idea of doing that. That's the mouse. That's it. I mean, are you expecting?
Really?
I'm sorry, are you expecting them to do like a pro controller, but it's just a mouse? No.
Yes, I'm calling it now. That's gonna happen.
There's no shot more than one game uses that optical sensor. First of all, remember when they put an IR sensor on the fucking first set of them, and then they used it in like 2 whole fucking games? Yeah, no. Yeah, no. This is gonna be the same way. Where it's used twice for like some Nintendo Labo bullshit, and that's gonna be the beginning and end of it.
I think it's going to be some Nintendo Labo shit, but they're going to sell the mouse with it, and it's going to be like $80. I think we're going to get an $80 Nintendo branded mouse.
Stick the controller into?
Well, actually, that's way more likely than what I was thinking. I was thinking like an actual like pro controller mouse.
You think they would sell an $80 mouse? They would
sell an $80 mouse. I 100% do.
I don't know. $80 will get you like $80 is about what my mouse cost, and my mouse is like a nice like PC mouse. You know?
That's only $80 less than like
fucking mouse peripheral.
The MX Master 3, which is what I use, which is like the best mouse on the market for like.
Do you think there's gonna be
like workplace?
Do you think there's gonna be some dad out there who's kid? He's like, I want to get Mario Paint for the Switch too, please, Papa. And he's like, I'll get it for you, son. They have a mouse. There's like a mouse based game. Oh, they sell a mouse. It's like $80. Hey, wait a minute. I'm already standing in Best Buy. I see a rack of really nice mice over there for the exact same price. Like, what are the odds that somebody's dad, in place of getting them like the Nintendo mouse for Christmas, is gonna get them like a shitty, like, pack in with your computer Dell mouse for like $5?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh man, I'm sure that's gonna happen, and I'm sure they're gonna have some sort of qualm with like no third-party mice.
They're gonna be pissed third-party mouse. I've been genuinely shocked that they've been using USB-A and USB-C on their consoles since like the Wii. It's genuinely shocking to me that like they would take like a non-proprietary input like that.
Seriously,
like that's so like antithetical to what Nintendo does. But it's got two. Speaking of USB-C, it's got two USB-C ports. They, I guess, couldn't fucking decide.
Sense.
I guess they couldn't fucking decide. I guess it's the best solution. Cool. I think it's the best possible
I've had a Switch
solution.
And I've had a Steam Deck, and those have those two ports in different places. And with the Steam Deck, I wish I could put it on a dock and it would charge. However, the Switch, I wish that I could have it sitting on a table and charge on the top. And so I think it's great. I think that was the best design choice they could have made, actually.
Yeah, I think the best upgrade. I think that's one of the better upgrades. I think one of the best upgrades they've done this time. The fucking kickstand looks like it'll hold up for more than 2 seconds. It looks like you can breathe on it and it'll stay standing.
But and it's actually adjustable instead of just like one size fits all.
Like, I won't lie to you, they did this whole segment in the trailer thing where they were wiggling both of the joysticks for a good 20-30 seconds, and it's like, okay, we get it, fine. I assume that means stick drift is fixed. I assume that's what they fucking mean by that.
I don't know.
Why can't Nintendo ever just fucking say shit? Why can't they just say something?
I know, this is some bullshit. Come on,
man.
We're talking about, really like, stupid. The system might not lock, but it might, and it's like, this is stupid. If they had just released,
They spent the entire trailer showing us a piece of hardware that for like a minute and a half, and in that minute and a half, we've learned almost nothing other than it's a Switch with some improvements made to it. That's about the beginning and end all be all of it. And that the controllers will
should have done a hardware trailer with it.
Well, they're going to. They're going to. At the end there, they announced in 4/2/2025, which British people got really excited about because they do their dates incorrectly over there. Thought it meant February 4th. We were going to learn more about this thing literally in like a week or two. No, Nintendo has clarified April 2nd. April 2nd is when we're learning about this. Do you think they considered April 1st? Do you think they thought about maybe doing April 1st and then we're like, no, we can't do that. It has to be the 2nd. Fine.
Man, I just can't believe this is the world we're living in. This is like...
Me neither.
I don't
know,
is surreal.
Man. This
Welcome
is weird.
back to 2016, I guess. Donald Trump is president and Nintendo is releasing a Switch.
They've announced the console within 3 months of it coming out. Which I guess we don't know. We don't know when it's coming out. I thought that was a release date when I first saw it. That is the date where they're going to do a larger Nintendo Direct about it and show things off. And I found this out because they posted on their Twitter the 4/2/2025 Direct covering Nintendo Switch 2 console games and accessories. And like they named like the date that it took place like 3 times in the announcement, and then ended the announcement with like the Switch 2 trailer that comes out on April 2nd this year will be announced what date it's happening later this month. And it's just like, why?
Oh my god!
Like they left a thing in about just like, we'll tweet when the April 2nd Nintendo Direct is going to happen, and it's just like, it's right there. You don't have to.
It's
tweet
right
it.
there.
You can
That's
see
the
it.
time.
But maybe they'll change it. I don't know. But like April 2nd, people are complaining like that's a long way away. I don't think that's all that bad. I think
it's a long way away for another trailer.
For another trailer for the thing, maybe. But like, I don't know. This year's kind of stacked. We've got like Invincible coming out next month. We got more Invincible. Like a whole season's worth of Invincible coming out starting in February. So that'll get us through February pretty easy. In January, might as well be over. We're already over halfway through it.
Yeah.
It's flying by. This year has really just like grabbed us and fucking yanked us away, dude, already. But I don't know. I think personally over that time they're probably also going to drip feed us information, like little things, like it has this kind of a battery life thing going on, or we might maybe be doing this with it, or it'll be compatible with these existing Switch accessories. I think we'll learn more about it as the weeks draw on, and the months draw on, because it's only like 2-3 months away. As the months draw on, I think we'll learn a lot about that, and me and you personally will be having a very busy time, because it struck me. I was watching that trailer and I was like, oh, that's like a month and a half from now, right? That's like in a couple months. Hey, wait a minute. We're supposed to be like latest possible date we will have moved is March 15th. Like,
oh shit, yeah, you're right.
The console, we're going to be watching this direct in our new home. And that's like surreal to me, because it's like that's not that far away.
That is really surreal, actually. Because I did have this moment where I was like, "Yeah,
it feels like such a far off thing. It's never gonna happen."
Work some money
both
around
the Switch 2 and this, and I was just like, "Oh man, fuck! No, those are both happening this year, and they're both happening before April, dude. What the fuck?
Yeah,
that's crazy." But
like, I had this moment where I was like, I should save for the console, because I do want to play it. As much as I hate it, as much as I hate it in concept right now, I'm gonna play it. Because of course I'm
gonna go in for one, I think. Yeah. And then worst case,
Um,
because I always like to have the new hardware, because even if emulation doesn't get sorted, homebrew will get sorted on that thing within a couple of years, and then fucking bing bang bam. Because I'm a big fan of piracy, for any federal agents listening. I'm a big fan of piracy, and I usually I'll buy a game. Typically I'll buy a game on desktop, but for console, Nintendo is currently charging us $60 full for a remake of a game that just ups the graphics a little bit from it's a remake of a remake, even, because it's the 3DS version is what it's based on. They're selling us Donkey Kong Country Returns for the Wii again for $60 right now. You gotta be fucking kidding me. You gotta be hoping so goddamn hard if you're gonna willingly tell me that's a good price for that product.
Is it 60 or is it 70?
It is. I think it might be 70. It might be 70 for the pre-orders. I don't know, or for the big
that's
edition
default
or whatever.
Price now.
The default price is not $70, and I'll never accept it. I'll never buy a $70 game. The only $70 game I might buy, scratch that, is GTA 6, because that's coming out later this year.
Yeah.
I might pay full retail for that, but that's only because GTA 5 has had a track record of fuck it, I'll play it again every once in a while for the last decade. So I've gotten my fucking 60 out of that, and I only paid 30 for it. But that's another thing about the Switch too. I don't want to move to I haven't been on a console in so long for anything. And the idea of a console-based games marketplace like that, where I'm not paying Steam store prices for things, bothers me.
Oh, fuck.
Shit is gonna be so much more expensive for that fucking thing. It's gonna be ridiculous. But for a new Mario
consoles,
Kart,
it's genuinely worth it to just buy it in person. Get physical
it's
copies.
It's genuinely
of shit,
worth it to go get
those
the physical
will go on
copy.
Sale.
Yeah. Because at least those will go on sale, and those will retain more value than the digital copy will, because you can resell it if you ever want to get rid of it. But yeah, no, they spent most of the time talking about hardware, and I think that's a lot of why I feel kind of, I don't want to say underwhelmed or overwhelmed. I'm perfectly whelmed by this, I think.
You're whelmed?
I'm whelmed because, again, mostly because of the leaks and all that being given away to me, but also because I'm whelmed because it's more Switch, and we don't know what games are coming out for it, really. We don't know what they have, games-wise. Because when it comes to Nintendo, I don't really get excited about their hardware nearly as much as I get excited about their software. And it just, it shocks me to no end that, all they did was show us, 10 seconds of a new Mario Kart game, and that was it. Which, by the way, there's a lot to talk about in those 10 seconds of Mario Kart. Huh? Oh, Mario has a bigger nose. He's always had a big ass fucking nose. What are you talking about? It's defining character trait
during the Switch era, and now it has gone back. They've decided to bring it back around.
I kind of like what they're doing with the character designs in the new Mario Kart. I don't know if you've actually like taken a really good look at them. They're all over Twitter right now, so I'm sure if you just go scroll, you'll find them. But like,
I'm just pulling up the trailer and looking at it.
Yeah, like Donkey Kong has a somewhat new design. It's kind of like reminiscent of his movie design. It seems like the Mario franchise in general is leaning a little more cartoony and a little more like chibi now, and I like that. I like that a lot more for them. I find these designs like insanely endearing. But okay, the first thing, other than the character designs that I wanted to talk about, related to this Mario Kart thing, somebody noticed immediately. I opened Twitter. I didn't spot it, but somebody did, because they showed a couple brand new tracks, and one of those brand new tracks had a starting line, and that starting line had 24 racers on it.
Oh.
You can do 24-man Mario Kart now, which gave me the thought that I think everybody else had instantly of, Jesus Christ, could you imagine getting hit by a blue shell in first and ending up in 24th?
I think I would cry.
I've ended up in 12th before, and like from some bullshit like that, I believe they call it getting Mario Karted. Like by just like a blue shell and then a red shell and then a star and then a bullet bill, and it's just like, this sucks. I genuinely like put down the controller and walked away, and people were genuinely like upset with me. They're like, because it's like, again, Mario Kart doesn't move on until all the racers are finished with the race. So everybody's just sitting there, and I'm like, no, fuck this shit. And then you have to do like the roll of shame toward the fucking end point while everybody watches you.
Yeah.
But like, it genuinely, like, if I ended up in 24th and not 12th, I think I might start crashing the fuck out immediately. I think I might go like fully out of my goddamn mind over that shit. Are you serious? That's like the ultimate humiliation.
And for good reason.
And for good reason.
I would be pissed as hell.
Like, it's such like a nothing thing. It's like, really, we're freaking out over Mario Kart, but it's just like, I don't know, that shit like gets in your brain, dude. I've got like there's something about it when you lose to some horse shit like that, where it takes me, dude. Oh man. But new Mario Kart, people are saying that it's gonna be open world somehow, in that like it's gonna be like the newer Mario parties where like you select your character and then you're like driving to go select a course. And then you drive through the course, and there are like collectibles and like a campaign, and it's like, that's
a campaign. Wow.
I don't know. I don't know about.
I don't know
how
I feel about that.
I don't know how I feel about that.
Yeah.
I like the DS version though. The DS version had a campaign, and it had like a boss rush mode where like it was just like, okay, yeah, do a boss fight. Okay, now do another boss fight. It was less of a campaign and more a series of challenge boss fights. But they were cool, and I want that back. And I'm hoping they do something cool with that to shake it up. I'm excited to see what brand new Mario Kart tracks look like in the year of our Lord 2025. I'm excited to see what that's like, because we haven't. It's easy to forget, but we have not had an entirely brand new, not a remake of any previous course Mario Kart track in like since like 2016 or like 2015. I don't know, I think they put out like a couple more new ones when the Switch version came out, because they also like put all the Wii U DLC in there and then released like another 2 cups on top of that. But that was 2017 or 18. That's still a long ass time ago. That's still like 6-7 years out. I'm really excited to see what they do with it. Because I don't know, I'm a big Mario Kart fan. I enjoy myself a kart. Metroid Prime 4 sounds pretty cool. I'm hoping we find out more. I'm hoping we find out a whole lot more about it. But yeah, no, I'm fairly optimistic. I'm just puzzled by some of the decisions made. Oh, what's up?
I'm looking back at this hardware, and I'm realizing that the Joy-Cons are very much so like, they very clearly are focusing more on making them more usable in their sideways form, which I think is
like that's
not
definitely part
a great
of the
idea.
Because nobody likes doing that anyway.
Always
there's not much you can do. There's not much you can do to update that and make it not suck either, is the thing. And so it's weird. That's another thing about changing the rails on them out, is that like it's compatible with previous Switch games, and I'm sure you can pair like a Pro Controller or an old Joy-Con to it, but like there's a weird hardware disconnect there. There's a very weird hardware disconnect there that I don't know about, you know? I don't think I quite understand it. But I'm sure there'll be some shit. I'm sure there'll be some shit that'll work out that'll be real good on the new Switch.
Okay. So on the little colored rail parts,
yeah,
there are indents on the top and the bottom, so that might be the locking system.
So it might like clamp.
There
from
are
the
some
top
pretty
and
noticeable.
That would be good.
Yeah, that would be good. That would actually
on the
be
bottom,
really
and
good.
those like clamps on the bottom worked pretty good, but like there wasn't anything on the top, and that was a problem. So clamping top and bottom might actually be better, like in terms of like holding the fucking controllers in place. You know, that might actually work out a whole lot better. It doesn't keep that board in there.
But again, we're just kind of coping,
though. Yeah. I don't really feel like I'm coping. I feel like I'm like cautiously optimistic, and optimistic is even a strange thing. Cause like I know that with a new Nintendo console, there's gonna be some shit that I enjoy about it, one way or the other. I'm gonna have a good time with it. It's like pretty much guaranteed to be fun. It's just like, how worth the money will it be, and where is the caveat? How bad is it also going to be on the flip side? You know. I don't know.
Yeah.
But I'm excited that they're finally doing something. I'm excited to finally hear
Nintendo's doing something.
Yeah, they're doing literally anything. And
although I think we're gonna go into a Nintendo recession, as we've seen in the past. I think it's pretty easy to say.
Good.
Yeah.
Yes. The worse they're
Nintendo
doing, the better the games they release
for us.
Yeah. No, they start giving us what we fucking want. But last thing I have about the Switch stuff, I don't know if you've got more. We can keep going if you do.
I don't really have any more.
One of the last things I do, people were talking about how like the Switch, now that the Switch's era is coming to an end, every time Nintendo announce that like, yeah, the Switch is the top selling console of all time now, we've officially broken the record, Sony somehow finds a few like million more PS2s that they sold. The number, I've watched that number go up. It was like 60 million consoles, and now it's something like 180 million, just because they're trying so hard to like out Nintendo or like beat them out.
Still good.
Because that's all they have. That's all Sony has right now in the current day is their achievement of like, well, we had the best selling console of all time like a decade or two ago.
Like solidly two.
Just solidly 2 decades ago. Good God, the PS2.
Yeah.
The PS2 is 20. The fucking PS2 is 20 years old.
Older than 20, I think.
God.
Let me look it up.
That's okay. That's all right. But no, yeah, I love this. I think it's so fucking funny. It makes me hope, honestly, that Nintendo finds a couple more Switches that are sold and ends up
the PS2 is 25.
And they end up just like busting up a couple extra, like, and they end up like in like this sort of like war back and forth of like, well, ours sold 20 million more than yours, and it's like, we got 20 million. We found 20 million more that were under the couch cushions. We sold them already.
Yeah.
Do you think they have a guy? Do you think there's like a money laundering scheme so they can keep themselves honest with it? Where it's like, we just have a guy we sell pallets worth of old PS2s to, and then we count them on the PS2 sales, and then we pay him the cost of those PS2s so that we can factually confirm that, yes, we sold this many, except 100 million of them went to one specific guy.
Christ,
like direct from us. That'd be funny.
Who's gonna like? I would love to have a pallet of new PS2s. Actually, that would be cool because that would mean that they still have them.
Brand new PS2s that they just have in storage somewhere. You'd buy that?
I don't know. I would buy one at least because, like, imagine
I'd buy a brand new in-box, like new old stock PS2. Like, I'd absolutely take that. Yeah,
like that seems cool. As
hell. That's a wicked find. Yeah.
But that's our Switch moment.
That's our Switch moment. I just had a lot to say about it. I used to be a really big Nintendo guy, and in recent years, I've become way less of a Nintendo guy just because they're doing less that really intrigues me or like calls to me, you know. And so I have less to do. But Mario Kart 9, maybe 10. People are talking about how they might count Deluxe, like 8 Deluxe as 9, and then release Mario Kart X and make it like the 10th one because 10's a big number.
Piss me
What
off.
is it with software companies doing that? Windows did it. I think like some other franchise did it recently Where it's like, dude, I get that like 10 is the big
9.
one and you want to be there, but like, why are we skipping 9 all the time, dude? What's the point?
I don't know, dude.
Speaking of gaming news though, and moving backwards and doing sequels to things nobody really asked for, there's like talk going around. I don't know how confirmed this is, of Bethesda making an Elder Scrolls Oblivion remake. Why?
That'd be kind of cool.
That'd be neat.
Oblivion's
Don't get me wrong. But like, I feel like if you took Oblivion, if you took Oblivion, you polish off the graphics to make it look modern, and then you have the voice lines re-recorded and everything, and like just completely remake it from the ground up as a modern game with the same story, same elements, same everything, except it's just up to a modern professional standard.
I don't think it'll be modern.
I think you would remove literally all of the reason anybody would ever want to play it. You know, I think so. And also, that's like kind of the charm of it, you know?
Had they kept the dialogue the same, it would just be like, wow, look at these amazing graphics. And then, hello, how are you today? And it's like, dude, what the hell? Back the hell up. And this dialogue is so goddamn stilted. What the fuck? Why is it HD but still stilted?
That's the point. Like, people are showing up to Oblivion to watch like a taped together puppet show, not to like get engrossed in a massive like RPG experience, not an MMO, but like an RPG experience. If they wanted a good like super immersive RPG, they wouldn't be playing fucking Oblivion in modern day.
Yeah.
I don't know. What I think they'll end up doing is probably close to that. I think they'll probably do something close to that, like you said, where they redo it graphically and like update it to the modern engine, and then like keep the just remaster the dialogue lines and just like fix some bugs and shit, make some new ones, of course, and then send it out. Like I think that's probably how it's gonna be. I think it's going to be more of a remaster than a complete remake, you know. And sure, more power to them. I hope they lean campy with it. I kind of want them to lean a little campy with it, and like like it like a funny little like shitball RPG, you know? I think that'd be a good time.
Yeah. Bethesda's doing some stuff, and I'm okay with it. I'm still kind of hype about that like Doom, somewhat medieval Doom that they're coming out with. I thought that was cool as hell. Yeah. I thought that was neat. I haven't seen anything about it since it was announced in, I think it was E3, not E3. E3's dead as hell.
God, yeah, E3's been dead.
The Game Awards last year. Not 2024, but 2023's Game Awards, I think, is when it was announced.
Yeah, Doom the Dark Ages is what it's called. I just double-checked that. It looked real sick. It looked really sick.
It did look cool.
I think that Doom the Dark Ages is probably, like, the best thing they could be doing with the Doom franchise. It's like, they're not going to make a new Quake. They own Quake, but they're not going to make a new Quake. And if they do, it wouldn't... Like, Quake feels different to Doom in a few little ways. Gameplay-wise, even, like, assumedly in the modern day. I think we've just basically assimilated Quake into Doom for this, is what happened. We're just leaning into, like, those sort of ye olde aesthetics that kind of Quake had going on, except with demon fighting in the fucking Dark Ages. I don't know if there's actual time travel shit happening here, or what, but I don't really care. It's a cool setting, and it's aesthetically really neat. And I wanna fucking like rip the head off a demon while I'm like standing there in like full like knight armor. I wanna do that shit.
Yeah.
I wanna have like a knight themed Doomslayer skin. It's gonna be cool.
Bethesda needs to like fucking take machine games away from Indiana Jones and like force them to do a good Wolfenstein game. I will fucking give them my left testicle if I can get a new Wolfenstein game. Did they just put a Wolfenstein
game out in like 2018? I mean, again, that was like 7 years ago.
It was terrible. Wolfenstein 2, yeah. And then 2021, we got Youngblood, which was
you motherfuckers
just the worst.
Were getting a game in 2021 and you're complaining about how you don't got anything?
I'm fiending!
It was only 4 years ago.
I'm fiending. It's bad.
Only 4 years ago. I don't care if it's bad.
We got a bad game.
Well, I don't know, but man. You still got new content. I mean, make a good one, yes. But like, I don't know. I think Bethesda's a little too on their Fallout shit as of late. Like in recent years, I think they're way too like they're giving Fallout too much juice, you know. And I think that's good. I think it's good that Fallout gets its juice, but like again, you've got other franchises to tend to. I think it would be if I were made in charge of Bethesda today, I think my first order of business is like, fuck it, new Commander Keen game. Announce it tomorrow. People are gonna lose their goddamn minds. It'd be funny. It'd be absolutely funny.
It would be really funny.
Please, Elder Scrolls 6 news. Please, sir. Please, a new Wolfenstein. Commander Keen. I think that's really funny. Itney needy. She's genuinely in space, and it's like, yeah, that's.
I think
Bethesda would die if they tried to make a fucking point-and-click puzzle platformer. I think they would like all die immediately. There was that Commander Keen mobile game they did recently. It actually looked all right. I didn't play it because it's a mobile game. It would be
so funny if they recanonize the like. BJ Blazkowicz is fucking Doomslayer's great-grandfather, and Commander Keen is Doomslayer's grandfather. Like, if they could bring that back, that would be great. I would love that for the new timeline.
I just love the gap in the middle there, because it's like, BJ and the Doomslayer, yes, that makes sense that there's like a lineage there. Why the fuck is Commander Keen in the middle of it? Why is like
I don't know.
Yeah, my grandpa like was like a Nazi killing super soldier. Me, I'm just a little kid. I just want to go in space, solve puzzles. This whole
my grandson, he's like rips my the grandson shit out of
is
demons.
Also in space, kind of.
Yeah.
So I guess he makes like the connective tissue there, but like fucking that's stupid. So. That's dumb.
I'm imagining like a fucking BJ Blazkowicz raising this kid who's like, I want to go to space. It's great. That's like that's my favorite little like nugget of truth. I like to think it's true still, but it's not canonized in the new Wolfenstein.
But I don't know. People like those like DOS games, like those like sort of like old PC adventure games, that like they have the licenses to. Like they just re-released. I don't think it was Bethesda. I don't think Bethesda owns this one. I think it was actually like LucasArts, whatever's left of them. They re-released Day of the Tentacle, and people liked that one. People really liked the fact that
give us a new pajama
Backyard Baseball. Backyard Baseball got a fucking re-release on Steam, and like streamers were playing it and shit recently. Wow. That's something to talk about.
That's wild.
And I was like, I was getting like Twitch clips on my TikTok of like people playing fucking Backyard Baseball, and then I tab over to Steam. This was like a few weeks ago, and I tab over to Steam, and boom, front page, Backyard Baseball, $20 goddamn for a full like port forward of it. I don't even think they updated any of the art or anything really. I think they just like shoved like made it work well on Windows 11. $20, bada bing, bada boom. Which 20 is kind of high for me personally.
20 is kind of like, really high.
A game that came out in the 90s, but like it's fair enough. $20 is like they still had to port it forward and everything, and like I get Nintendo shit because 70 is way too goddamn much for a game like an old game ported forward. But like again, we're spoiled by Steam sale prices on games to the point where it's like any game that's over $5, I hesitate. If I have to pay more than $5 for it, I hesitate a little bit and go, maybe a 20% sale will come. $20 is definitely a marker for me where I probably, no matter how interested I am in it, if it's not the only thing on my mind 24/7, I'm probably not spending $20 on a video game. You know?
Really?
Unless it's like a hyperfixation, I can't bring myself. A 20 is just enough money that like I could buy a video game or I could go out to lunch, you know? Like, $20
and that's how I see it. Is that like I'd rather have a game than go out to lunch. Yeah,
I guess so. But I'm gonna go out to lunch anyway. And so the thing about it is that like I go out to lunch every time I go to the grocery store because like I get food and then I eat and then I go get groceries on a full stomach. And I genuinely like there's a life hack for anybody listening. If you end up going to the grocery store and always leave with more than you need, go out to eat first. Sit down out somewhere or eat at home before you leave, but eat a very filling big ass meal before you go to the grocery store. Give it just enough time to settle and then walk in like less than 20 minutes later into the fucking grocery store. You won't feel like eating a goddamn thing. And so your brain will be in like logic mode of like, all right, we're short on kidney beans. Let me go pick up kidney beans. And like you'll be on your like getting like ingredients that you need for around the house type vibe instead of your fucking like, oh, ice cream sandwiches. I should get some ice cream sandwiches. You know, like you'll be out of that
on
land.
Kidney beans.
I don't know, man. Maybe you're making like a chili or something, or like a soup. I don't keep kidney beans. No, No, I don't keep.
That would be
beans.
a really bizarre thing for you to keep, as you don't have a stove either.
What's your favorite? What's your favorite? What's your favorite bean, Jed? You got a favorite bean? I'm partial to lima.
Favorite bean.
I like
them when they're
bean.
refried.
Oh, you like? I like
them
bean?
when they're
That's
refried pinto. Yeah.
I like a little black-eyed pea. I like those. Those are like a bean.
I don't know.
They're not properly a
bean guy. Black beans
not a big
good.
bean guy. Yeah. I think I don't know. I've never had a good baked bean, but I've never had like fresh baked beans. I've only had like canned baked beans, and those are ass. Those taste like shit.
I love baked beans.
These taste like absolute horse shit, dude. They're the worst. I hate them.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if
they're
I trust
disgusting
your flavor
to look at.
Sometime though.
They're disgusting to look at, dude. And then you
what
eat
do you
them
mean?
and they suck. Well, they're like an orange fucking goop with bean floating in it. Why the fuck would you want that? Well, not floating. It's like viscous even. But it's just like, why the fuck would you want the bean sludge? Give me the bean sludge, good sir. I don't know what you mean.
That's
and they're
like
sweet.
The bean
they're
of
like
all
weirdly
time,
sweet too. And it's like, this sucks.
They are brown sugar
ass.
beans. You've never had beans that were good like that. I'm gonna have to cook you like
I assume that
beans.
If they're fresh, then they're good. Yes, but that's what I'm saying is I've only had the ones that are like crammed full of preservatives out of a goddamn can, dude. Like just straight out of the can, cooked, and then bam, eat them. You know,
it's good. It's really good. I like beans. I like baked beans. But
I'm a big lima bean enjoyer, which is weird. So I like creamed corn. Beans? Creamed corn is good. We were talking about groceries and eating when you go out, because eating when you go out is like the top way. I don't know. Maybe I'm just like, maybe I've just got like a food brain. Maybe I'm like fucked up. But like, I don't know. Every time I leave the house, even if it's just to run to the dollar store real quick, I consider like, Burger King. You know, like I have a moment where I'm like, I should get food while I'm out. And then I think about it and I go, nope, fast food's expensive. Got food at home. Go home. I have to we have McDonald's at home myself consistently whenever I'm out. Because it's just like, man, this is great. I have to convince myself away from eating lunch when if I'm going out for like a shopping trip for the day, which is lovely, by the way, probably my favorite activity, honestly, is just like walking around a shop, not even buying anything necessarily. Even if I leave empty handed, walking around a fucking shopping center and then like having a meal afterward. Human beings were designed for strip malls, dude. I don't know.
I'm not a big shopper because I'm not a big like walker. I don't know, man. I don't like walking.
Make a pretty big walker if somebody if like you got bit by one. I think you could make a pretty big walker.
I would make. We've talked about this before. I would be like the boss zombie. Like I am the tank.
Jed zombie approaches and like a health bar appears at the top of your screen for him.
Yeah.
And like boss music starts playing. No, but like, no, yeah, I understand that. I think there's a lot of. I also like to take frequent breaks while I'm shopping too. That's the thing. We talked about it before about theme parks in private, where you're like, man, I wouldn't want to go to a theme park with you guys because I don't want to hold you guys back. I don't want to be like having to sit down every 5 fucking minutes and then like I'm sitting down and you guys are like, oh, but we want to go ride a ride, but we don't want to leave you, and then you're gonna have to leave me behind and it'll suck, and I'll just be the one holding all the bags the whole time. And I had to express to you like, no, dude, no. We went like I like to sit down on every bench afforded to me too, and even some places that strictly are not benches.
Bench enjoyer.
Yeah, I'm a good sit down enjoyer, dude. One of my favorite thing that we did at Universal was sit on steps and eat a bunch of like fucking loaded baked potatoes. No, loaded baked potatoes. And you know what the worst part is? We were in the Harry Potter area, and we were like, oh, you know, there's a couple like doorstep here. There's a couple like doorsteps here, and the steps are kind of big. There's no like seating area near this like food truck to eat. So I'm just gonna we're gonna take our jacket potatoes and we're gonna go sit down over there, which is what they call them because they're fucking British and stupid.
Yeah, because they're British.
We're gonna take them and we're gonna go sit down over on the steps, and we found out very quickly that we were standing on the steps of like a thing, because there's like I don't know anything about Harry Potter, but there's like a thing where like there's like a door knocker and a little guy appears in the window, and I didn't realize where we were sitting. Oh. We did not get up and move. What we did was every time like a kid or somebody came through. No, I remember what it was. We were sitting at there are 2 or 3 of them, and we were at the one next door. And so people were getting like the number wrong and going like, oh, this is the one. I go up and I do the door knocker, and it's like, so we got to be the guys that just sat there and went, nope, there's the next one down. Or just like
no,
eating.
Not this one.
And I felt bad because like
when we got NPC.
I picked up as much as I could of it, but like I don't know how recently you've had like just an okay straight out of a truck baked potato with like cheese and meat and shit in it.
I've never had a potato.
You're gonna
out
lose
of the truck,
Trum. You were saying truck and threw me off. You're gonna lose chunks of the potato. Like the stuffing of the potato, you're going to lose like little bits of it. And I don't know if you've ever tried to pick up innards of a potato off the ground. It's real hard. And it was like hard stone, and I was like, fuck it, it's fine. And I walked away. And like we didn't leave like a mess or anything. I'm being dramatic. They were like I think I dropped like the smallest piece in the world and got 90% of it up. But like I felt really bad for like leaving a mess, dude. But no, it was just like I think that was like one of the more, not my favorite thing. I exaggerate, but like that was one of the more memorable things we did, was genuinely just sitting and having a meal and like enjoying the sights and sounds around us and like having a time. You know, good to do that every now and then. But what were we saying? Oh, right. Yeah, no, I was assuring you that, like, no, when we do shit like that, we take seats. We take a seat every now and again. Mostly because Basil has to. My husband, like, has to occasionally. But, like, I also enjoy just sitting and people watching. And people watching is fucking phenomenal in big public spaces like that. It's a good time to do it. So, you know, I don't really see it as, like, a stopping point or, like, a sitting point as much as just, like, oh, man, This'll waste a few minutes, and I get to engage in one of my other favorite hobbies, talking to my friends and looking at weird strangers.
Yeah.
You know?
Oh,
and
man.
that's good.
I would love to go to an amusement park with you guys, but again, the other thing isn't just the like sitting down thing, because we've settled on that, and I will go to an amusement park. I'm pretty sure I'm not gonna fit on the ride. I'm pretty sure I'm not gonna fit on the fucking rides.
You'd be shocked at how big they make those fucking seats, dude. You'd be
some of them are
shocked.
Maybe it's different in Florida than California. They make them bigger in the South, I guess, but like I don't know, man.
California people are known for having slimmer asses than us. Like that's just how it is. We're just like we're way more of a food culture here, and so like the odds of you packing on a few pounds are a little higher. So I think there is a little bit of accommodation for that. If what you're imagining is like slim, uncomfortable seating. I will tell you one thing that I don't like.
Weight and height.
I'll tell you one thing that I don't. Oh, dude, I read a bunch of them. Like they top out at like 600-700 pounds per person.
Okay.
So it's like that's like maximum weight. I don't know if that's like maximum load total. I doubt it though, because like some of them hold 6 people and we're like 600 pounds limit, and so it's like okay, well, I don't think you're exclusively like, what is this, a ride for fucking anorexic like people? I don't know, man.
Yeah.
But like, no, yeah, I think it'll go over fine. I think there's some validity to those anxieties, but I don't think it's as big of a deal as you would think it would be.
I definitely don't think it's going to be like a prevalent issue as much as just like I think it's going to be a mild annoyance. But yeah. What were you saying?
That's one thing though. That's one thing though, is just like, oh man, nothing could have prepared me. Nothing could have possibly prepared me for the amount of times in theme parks that you end up standing in a place that is enclosed with stone. Like, it's primarily like a concrete fucking building with like the only thing cooling it being like standing mounted wall fans on the inside that are literally just standard shop fans. And you're like surrounded by like literally hundreds of other people waiting in line to like get into the fucking thing that you're also waiting in line for. And so between like the regular heat and the body heat, you're gonna die. That's where my real concern would be, is just like the amount of queues, the amount of standing queues I've genuinely like just sat on the floor in, like where I've been standing there for so long that I hit that like point of like, fuck it, I got no shame, I'll sit on this dirty ass floor. You know, the amount of times I ended up there, dude, it's
See, that's good. Why height is great, is because if you're tall enough, you can sit on the railings and nobody will fucking like give a shit.
That's the worst part.
You didn't have railings at yours?
Don't have railings. Well, there are wall railings, but there was constantly like a guy over the intercom like, don't stand or lean on the railings the whole fucking time. And like,
really,
on top of that, the only other, like, some rides don't have railings or anything. They have, like, those, like, little guide ropes that they use in queues pretty much the whole way in a lot of the queues. And so it's just, like, there's nothing to lean on, really, except maybe, a standing pole every now and again. Or a wall. But yeah, no, there's a lot of that. There's a lot of that. I'll tell you that I think the worst culprit is the Harry Potter area for that kind of thing, because it's like a lot of stuff like Diagon Alley, where it's like this is a very like weirdly enclosed off area of the park with one entrance, one exit, and so like it's so packed. It's like an area designed to feel a little bit busy and claustrophobic, so it kind of works.
Yeah,
but because it's designed to be claustrophobic, everybody's everywhere. We waited like 2 hours in line for an ice cream. It was good ice cream.
Yeah.
But like it was soft serve. It was like caramel flavored, or not caramel.
Butterbeer, right?
No, it wasn't even the butterbeer one. We ended up getting we ended up getting the like it was like a caramel. It was like a Werther's original ass flavored like soft serve, and it was good. It was good as shit. Yeah, no.
That does sound good.
But then we waited like fucking we got early admission and used our early admission explicitly because we were like, okay, there are like 3 rides in the park that always have like fucking several hour wait times. We're just gonna book it to one of those. And we chose Hagrid's, which is like a really solid experience. It's a really solid ride. The issue though that we had with it was genuinely, if you walked that queue with nobody in front of you and you walked from beginning of end to it, it would take you longer than the actual ride takes. Nobody in line.
Oh my God.
If you just walked the length of the queue and never stopped and just kept like a walking pace the whole way and like just made your way over, it would genuinely take you like 5-10 minutes to walk the entire queue.
Holy hell.
Which is way longer than the ride takes. The ride takes maybe 2-3 minutes. And so like you can imagine even with early admission, we were still pretty much backed out to halfway down the queue, and it took us like an hour and a half to maybe like something like 90. I think it was somewhere between 90 and 120 minutes. So like something like an hour and a half, 2 hours. And it was ridiculous because like the ride itself is 5 fucking minutes, dude.
Yeah. Yeah, but, like it's quick as hell.
Yeah, no. We got off on theme parks at some point. Where the fuck were we? What was the original topic here?
Where
you remember?
We?
I've been trying to think about it the whole time.
Grocery stores.
About, like, Doom. We were talking about Doom and Bethesda and grocery stores and we were talking about how like games are too expensive. Games are too expensive. That's what it was.
Oh,
$20 could get you lunch or it could get you a new game.
We were talking about Commander Keen.
We were talking
about him being a little guy.
But no, I was saying that like I think they could genuinely benefit from like just re-releasing a bunch of their old shit as like remasters, like cleaned up. And I don't know. They could be printing money and they're not, and I just don't see why not.
Yeah. But
Bethesda's always doing some confusing shit though. Speaking of,
oh yeah. Oh no, I was just gonna move on. But if you have more to talk about Bethesda being weird,
no. I was just gonna say that Bethesda's like the king of those weird decisions. Like they make oddball "fuck you, why did you do that" choices all the time as a company. So I'm somehow not shocked that this qualifies under that. But speaking of companies making weird decisions right now, Mojang, keeping on the gaming shit, Mojang are releasing some snapshots lately and some teasers for future snapshots where they've added shit like falling leaves to the game, and they're like apparently doing something with like, you know, the wild update stuff that they announced that never came out. Where like if you remember, the wild update is the one where we got like fallen logs and that was it. I think. Like that was the only like real ambience feature that we got from that. And fallen logs are pretty cool. I like them, but like
they're neat.
I don't see them super often anymore now that I think of it.
I don't see them like at all. Yeah,
yeah, but like they happen, but I haven't seen one in forever. But either way, they're sort of leaning in like an ambience direction. They've added new pig types and shit. Like they're starting to add more mob variants, which I think is good. That's kind of that's something I've had resource packs do for me in the past, is just like add like 6 or 7 different pig textures and randomize them. But I like the way they're officially implementing it, where resource packs can do that now and do it a lot easier, and they have so much more like availability in resource packs to change shit. Like stuff like the eating animations mod, that's completely a resource pack now. That's just a resource pack that you can turn on and off. But then there's like they're doing their mob variants as like regional biome variants, and I think those are neat. I think that's a really good way to do that.
I do think that's the best way to do it for sure. Thing. Yeah,
but yeah, there's so much to talk about with that. In that, like, I just don't know what they're gonna do next. I have no idea where they're headed with this. They did like a waving emoji and then like a ribbon emoji earlier, and I don't know what that means. I could not decipher that.
Breast cancer awareness? I don't know.
Hello, breast cancer awareness.
Yeah.
Out of season.
Oh man,
little thing. But that's I said there was so much to talk about, and there is, because like I think if they lean on shit like effective or what is it called, visuality, also those mods that do things like make like little textures appear when like raindrops hit the water, or like make smoke, or not smoke, but like a mist happen at the bottom of like big waterfalls, like shit like that, or like the big sploosh that happens when you enter the water, shit like that. I think that's really cool. I think that if they added more of that to base game, it wouldn't really affect performance all that much, and like could even be like part of the fancy graphics option, exclusively or something, in case it does affect performance. But I think it'll be good. I think it'll be great.
I've got a bit of a Minecraft hot take.
You got a Minecraft hot take?
So
sure.
Everybody who complains about, fucking the updates take forever or they don't introduce very much. All of those people, I bet you are Java players, and I would say that Java is the reason why updates take so long. Java is like impossible to code for a game like Minecraft, especially at this point.
You're objectively wrong about that, actually. The devs themselves have come out and said that Bedrock is usually the hang-up, because they develop... It's not necessarily how hard it is to develop for. It's easier to patch shit in at random with Java a lot more, so they're able to experiment a little bit more. And so they develop for Java first, because that's the workflow they're under. And it's a lot easier for them to like just throw shit into the Java version, even if it's a mess, and go, maybe, and then refine it, than it would be with the Bedrock version. And also because Java is able to push out snapshots more frequently. Like we get a snapshot every week over there on the main Java branch, which is crazy, by the way. I don't think everybody who says Mojang is lazy needs to acknowledge the fact that, like, do you know that other like live service games aren't getting literal weekly updates of any kind whatsoever, no matter what? They don't have a set every Wednesday from now till the end of time, we're going to keep putting out snapshots. Like, you understand that, right? Not you, but just these hypothetical people who are like
these
mad.
hypothetical people.
And it's just like, I don't get how you can see that and go, lazy, bad. And I guess it's just because like much doesn't come of it usually, but there's a lot of experimentation that happens in there. But no, that's the thing, is like they have a lot harder time getting because they develop the Java feature and then they port it to Bedrock typically. And that's why parity is such an issue for them, is just like they're trying to fix that with the new shit, at least, where like they try to get things to work identically across versions. Like even like way down, and that takes a while. And that's why Bedrock gets updates later. And that's why they get them less frequently. And that's partially why people are mad about Bedrock. That's partially why people hate Bedrock, is because there have been times when the pre-release candidate for the last pre-release candidate for an update will release as a Java snapshot, and people will go, "Oh, sweet. This usually means we're getting the update. This means the update is all but done." And then we'll find out that like the Bedrock version isn't like done yet. They still have to develop that. And then we wait around for half a year while the Bedrock team develops it, and then the update comes out. You know? And so that's actually the hang-up. So a poor hot take there, I guess. Poor form.
I guess
poor
so,
form, Jed. Thumbs down.
Poor form.
How could you?
Damn. But yeah.
I like where Minecraft's going. I like where Minecraft's going. I think Minecraft's in pretty good hands right now. I think it's headed in a pretty alright direction. Anyway.
But speaking of live service games, Marvel Rivals came out somewhat recently. They came out recently when I had this on my topics list.
Just haven't gotten to it yet. It's still active. It's still worth talking about. It
still is active. I think Marvel Rivals was pretty good. I've been having a good time with it. I haven't played it a lot, but it is a hero shooter.
My problem with
that's all I can say about
Marvel Rivals is exclusively just its aesthetic. That's my 99% of my problem, is that, like, imagine the hero shooter genre is juice. Like, juice is the hero shooter genre. And then Overwatch comes out, the orange juice of the pack. And then everybody ever who goes, all right, I'm going to go make a juice now, makes an orange juice every single fucking time because that's what worked.
Yeah.
Orange juice was so popular. Everybody loved orange juice. We should just keep doing orange juice. And it's just like, I don't know. Like, even pre-orange juice coming out, apple juice existed. I liked that one.
Mm-hmm.
Like, what the fuck? Like, I don't know, it just looks like this weird mishmash of Overwatch and Valorant, and they were like, those do well, we should just copy those. And so all the designs, like, it's just, what if Marvel character was in Overwatch and or Valorant? And when I see a new design for it, I always, like, not always, there are a few skins. There are, like, I can count on one hand the amount of skins I've seen for this game that I went, that looks good. Not even that looks great or that's my favorite. That does not look bad, is what I mean by that. Most of them look like ass, dude. Just the biggest, hottest ass in the world. I mean, there are a few characters that you couldn't do that to, really. Like, you could show me their, like, default Wolverine skin and, like, retract his claws in. I probably wouldn't guess, even, that that's supposed to be Wolverine if I wasn't guessing that it was a Marvel character. Like, somebody said,
he just kind of looks like a stout, hairy motherfucker.
Someone was like, "Oh, you should go Hulk this round," and I was like, "Oh shit, yeah." And then I went to go select him, couldn't find him because he's under Bruce fucking Banner. First of all, second of all, Bruce Banner just looks like a fucking guy in this. He just looks like some chud, dude.
He looks like a piece of shit. He looks like
a fucking Wojak,
all of them
he
look like a piece of shit.
Yeah. They all look like they smell like Axe body spray and would call you a slur. It's just like, I don't know, man. The designs are bad. They're real rough. They got no juice, weirdly enough, for that comparison that I made a minute ago. But gameplay-wise, I don't mind it. I haven't played it in a bit because I always feel like it doesn't run very well on my computer because I haven't bothered to adjust literally any settings. I'm sure if I went into the settings and turned it from like ultra to high or whatever it's on to like even one layer down, it'd be better. But I just don't get the best performance on it, and it makes my like PC freak the fuck out a little bit, so I don't play it that often. But I also found out there was a thing that like completely took any enthusiasm I had for playing, where I was like complaining from day one of just like, man, I feel like I'm doing less damage than everybody else. I genuinely, like, it feels like the character I'm playing as, no matter what character that happens to be, is always less powerful than the character of that same kind on the other team. What the fuck is up with that? And then I got informed like a week or two later that there was genuinely actually a bug in the game that like it tied the amount of damage you dealt to your frame rate for some reason. Yeah. And so if you dropped frames, you lost damage like incrementally, like it was percentages of your damage. You had five like less FPS, 5% of the damage you're doing gone. So higher FPS you can play the game at, the more you do, the more damage you do. And I don't know if they ever even fixed that.
Bullshit.
It's complete horseshit, and it's just like, I can't be fucked if they're not even going to bother to like balance the game, you know? If they're not even going to bother to do shit like that to fix it. Like, I don't know if they actually fixed it, but that's my point, is that like, they could and they should, and I don't know if they did, but it took them way too long to do it. I found out like 2 weeks after that it still wasn't fixed and was thinking about it.
But no, and that's just some bullshit of like poorly managed, very clearly like they were working too much on the skin side of it and not on the gameplay side of it. So
no, I think so. I think it's a fine game. I know way too many people that have fun with it. What I'm realizing though is third-person hero shooters are not for me. Period. End all be all. Just the way those games are designed, I just don't like orange juice. That's just what I've hit. Like, what the hero shooter genre is now is just not my cup of tea, you know, and that's fine. That's all right. That's all right. That's fine. The communities for these things always tend to be like greaseball communities anyway. Not that if you play these that you're a fucking greaseball piece of shit, but like, it always ends up being some like sludge scum of the earth in the party chat immediately as soon as you get into the round of one of these, shouting like some of the most vile shit you've ever heard in your life, which is just what game party chats are. But I swear there's more of that in like Overwatch lobbies than anywhere else, and Valorant especially. Valorant does that too.
Valorant's bad.
Yeah, Valorant gets real bad. I've heard. Oh man, I've heard a thing or two about Valorant, and let me tell you, I wouldn't want to end up there either.
Yeah.
But no, yeah, Marvel Rivals. I'm glad that Marvel is doing something with some of their characters.
Yeah, I'm glad that it's not lame too. Like at least it's not lame. Is all I have to say about it.
It's not lame. It's all right. It's fine. Speaking of things that are not lame. Speaking of things that are not lame and are fine, Jackbox games. We've been playing a lot of Jackbox games recently. You want to talk about that?
We have been playing a lot of Jackbox games. So for the longest time, Vox and I were both like, fuck Jackbox. That's so goddamn expensive for a game that like you'll boot maybe once a month.
I said fuck, no, not Jackbox the games. I said fuck Jackbox because of the pricing. So I was like, I don't know if I want to spend $20 goddamn on 3 mini games. You know, I'm not sure that that's what I want. You know, but and honestly, Jed bit the bullet and bit the bullet and bought one of them. And since then, we've just been going down a rabbit hole of like, still on sale, we can get another one. And then when they went off sale, Jed was like, they're not on sale anymore. I don't think I want to buy another one right now. And then Basil
like, I can't afford
my husband and was like, there you go.
Yeah, like we're building up a collection of Jackbox games.
We're slowly building up a collection.
It's great.
Yeah,
Jackbox is great. Like genuinely, like we'll do it sometimes, occasionally on like high nights, but sometimes we'll do it sober.
Sometimes we'll do it sober. It's a good time sober or high. It's a good time sober or high.
It's not good drunk.
It's a lot of fun. I had less fun with it when I was drunk. Yeah, there are some games that are good drunk, and there are some games that aren't. But like either way, they're just a good time all around because we got it when we were like getting intoxicated regularly, and we were like, yeah, this will be a fun thing, won't it? And just to try it out, and like I don't think any of us expected it to actually be as good as it was for us. And it ended up working out really well, and we really like Jackbox over here. I'm actually like planning like a little thing eventually of like we're only like 3 to 5 packs, something like that. I think it might actually be 4 straight down the middle. But we're like 4 packs short on being able to like complete the bundle of like owning all of them. And I think what I want to do is stream the Jackbox series like all the way through as like we'll do 1 round of each game and then like 1 full game rather because some of them have rounds. Yeah, we'll do 1 full game of each game from like in order from Jackbox Party Pack 1 all the way up as like a 6 or 7 hour segment on stream, and it'll be funny because I did the math on that. If each game is 20 minutes and there's 3 games per pack, that's 30 games total. 30 games, 20 minutes, that's like 600
it's 5
minutes
games per pack.
It's 5 games per pack? I thought it was 3.
No, it's 5.
3,
we
right?
normally play. Only the naughty pack and the like party starter.
Oh, okay, I see. But
so that's significantly
that's even more. That's even more. But there are like hours of shit there. We might honestly split it into 2. But I think a Jackbox-a-thon could be a fun idea for like the next time we're doing like a big stream, like my birthday stream last year, that I might just be repeating that stunt again and just extending it a couple hours and then go, haha, I topped myself, you know.
Yeah,
I think that could be funny. But you know, I think that's a really good idea. I think that Jackbox idea is really good. But we've been having a lot of fun with Jackbox in private. It's kind of just been our little like, well, what do we do now? Jackbox? Yeah, sure. Everybody could agree to play a Jackbox because they're so like short and low stakes, and we get sucked into it for a couple hours. And like, do you have a lot of those nights, or at least I do, or I know you do too, Jed? But I mean, you, the audience, might also have these nights where, man, I'm with my friends. We're all here collected together in a Discord call. We want to be doing something together as a group. None of us can really think of anything that we think the others would agree to, and what's already been suggested has been kind of bunk so far. Like, it's all stuff that, like, would take all night, or I'm not super interested in. But Jackbox is such a wide thing that, like, we can agree to play Jackbox, and then argue about what game we're playing for a few minutes, and then eventually settle in on one. And then after that, it's, like, maybe 1-2 rounds of that, and we move around to do a bit and do a few other things, and then we play, like, 6 blather rounds, and then we're done.
Yeah.
And it takes,
blather
like,
round
it takes, like,
is
half
by
the
far
night
the best
from us.
one.
Blather round is really good. I really like Blather round. It's definitely
like,
some of the most fun.
Easily the best one.
I think you want to do a top 5? You want to do a top 5 of the ones that we own? Which packs do you own?
Like a top 5.
Can you say out the pack numbers that you own?
Yeah, so here, let me
not as a top 5, but just all of them, so that people know what the pool of table here is, or what the pool of thing is.
We first purchased Party Pack 4 because we had played a game, or we had played a round of it with another group of friends that we don't really hang out with. But like we were there, and
we showed up to like a group event, and they were playing it, and then we got a craving for it. And so we picked up 4 first, and 4's a pretty good one. I think 4's a
pretty good one.
I don't think there are any losers in Party Pack 4. I think out of because what are the games in 4? What are the games in 4?
Is the only one that's like Civic Doodle, Fibbage 3, Survive the Internet, Bracketeering, and Monster Seeking Monster. And Monster Seeking Monster could be really awkward. Monster Seeking Monster is the most hit or miss of them.
Monster Seeking Monster is definitely group dependent. If you have a friend group that's like really like weirdly flirty with each other as like a haha funny, Monster Seeking Monster is the perfect game for you. If you don't have that friend group, you kind of just have to like accept the bit. That's what I've started doing with it, is I've started just going whole hog into it and like treating it like a strategy game and not like a dating game, and it's so much more fun that way.
Yeah, same.
But like, no, I don't think any of those are necessarily bad. Even Civic Doodle, it's a pretty good drawing game, because it's like, I think it's the only one of the drawing games where you like actively add to the same exact drawing that somebody already worked on.
It is.
And I think like the emoji rating system kind of sucks for determining a winner.
I think it does.
But like, otherwise, I think it's pretty good. I think it's pretty all right. I think Party Pack 4. I think the worst. I think Civic Doodle is probably the worst of Party Pack 4, and it's still a good Jackbox game. I think it's definitely not the worst Jackbox game by far. You know?
Yeah, for sure.
So we own Party Pack 4.
Then
what
I
else?
picked up Party Pack 3. Because that had TKO, and TKO is a really good one.
TKO is one that like everybody knows. You draw little t-shirts, you put little slogans in, somebody matches your t-shirts and slogans. Real good time. Just really fun.
Yeah.
We've been using it to make fucking creatures, though. You want to talk about our TKO time real quick while we're in the middle of this?
We've been having a good TKO time because we'll play it like there's another game called
Smuggler.
Champed Up. But like we'll just draw creatures, and then we'll like try to title creatures instead of doing like actual t-shirts. So we have things like the Goob Smuggler, which I don't know. Maybe he can be maybe we can put the Goob Smuggler as the fucking like image for the thumbnail. But either way,
want to include the Goob Smuggler? I think it's going to be a Switch 2 thumbnail today, unfortunately.
I think it's going to be a
Switch 2
Any other week
it would have been the Goob Smuggler. But either way, we play it like we're like pitting our creatures against each other. We play it like a fucking like game of like who can make the more ridiculous thing on the t-shirt, and not really like the t-shirt is just a weird canvas for it. But I think it works out a lot of the times. I actually have been doing some pretty avant-garde shit with my fucking TKO drawings recently. Where I'm doing like the Doors to Nowhere and like the Shadow Men. I don't know if you've seen the Shadow Men yet, but like they've been in there.
Shadow Men, I think
they've been in there. I've been like, that's my favorite thing to do in TKO is draw something like the Doors to Nowhere, and then as one of my drawings, and then like do the other 2 drawings normal, of course, like as whatever else the other theme that I want to do. And then when I get to slogans, I'll do like maybe 1 or 2 things on that theme, and then I'll devolve to the doors. They go nowhere. Heed my warnings. The doors. And so like then that's how you end up with images like Kermit the Frog looking directly into the camera, and the caption is "Heed my warnings." You know, that's how you end up with shit like that. And so like it's good. Like it's good to think about TKO like I'm like making puzzle pieces to a complete set that I'll never get to see, you know? Like I'm giving somebody like I'm always trying to give the guy putting the t-shirt together at the end of the round a layup for something.
I don't know. I always root for my drawings more than I root for my own t-shirts.
I think TKO does a pretty good job, and I think a lot of the Jackbox games do a pretty good job of this. I should say, while we're on the subject of Jackbox games, I think I'll do a pretty good job of making it feel less like you're up against your friends and more like a collective. Like they do a good job of making the points matter even when you lose, and so like, you know, if you had a really good drawing and that t-shirt wins over your selected t-shirt that you used with somebody else's drawing or slogan, if your drawing or slogan is on the winning t-shirt, you get enough points that you could win if your other shirt was second place.
Oh yeah.
Like you could easily win, like by pointage. And so it's like really interesting to me. It's really interesting to me how they've like, you sort of get the sense of camaraderie where it's like, even when you're up against like the Goob Smoogler, it's like, nah, Goob Smoogler's better. Yeah, no, I've been outmatched here. Like everybody knows exactly where they're at immediately. I love that. But no, yeah,
that same party pack has
the other party packs.
It has Quiplash, Trivia, Murder Party, and Espionage, which those three are kind of eh. But that one also has Fakin' It, and Fakin' It, we were like, oh, we can't play this one. We're all on call. And I had this genius idea. I was high at the time.
We're like raising our hands. So for the raising your hand one, we're doing like yes or no's,
like instead, yes or no,
which is a pretty good surrogate.
And then hold up the amount of number.
There's face value. Yeah, of course you just say the number in that case. There's face value, and face value is really funny because instead of making faces,
genius idea.
Jed had a genius idea of instead of like turning our cameras on all of a sudden and making faces into them, that we were just gonna make noises into the microphone that represent a face that we would be making. So we're just sitting there like, name a noise you would make at a fancy dinner party, and we're just going into the microphone at each other, and like, and then we have to decipher. And then there's obviously somebody
not.
There's obviously somebody who picked up the like a second later than everybody else. So they're just like and it's like, yeah, no, it's them. It's them immediately. So maybe it's easier to like do that one audibly. Like maybe it's easier to catch somebody out on that one audibly, but it's a lot more fucking fun. I'll tell you that much.
It is really silly.
It's really silly. You look like an idiot, and it's great. That's another thing Jackbox is good at, is making you look like a fool in a way that like nobody gets hurt. Nobody's feelings are hurt. We're all having a laugh here, you know?
So I think what I'll do is I'll do my top from each pack, because this is where this started.
Wait, we're still not done with the packs. Those aren't all the packs you own, are they? We just did 2.
No. We just did 2. But then I picked up Party Pack. Here, let me remind myself which Party
rank
Pack it is.
Them at the
Party
end.
Pack 7. Yeah, we did Party Pack 7, which has Devils on the Detail, which is a very interesting little, like, it's a much more engaged game. It's not quite like a Jackbox hit. We have Champed Up, which is a drawing game that is pretty much just like draw a creature and then draw an opposing creature, and then they're pitted with like the champion.
It's like TKO, except instead there's like a prompt that you have to follow.
Yeah,
basically that's the end all be all of it, and like you draw exact counter drawings to somebody else without knowing what the prompt was, and so you have to figure that out.
That one also has Quiplash 3. Which the other pack had Quiplash. Quiplash is fine. I'm okay with Quiplash. That one also has a game called Talking Points, which I think is a very notable one, because that one's one of my favorites.
I think if I had a group of content creators together and not just like a group of my random fuck off friends, I think Talking Points would probably be the best game. I think that's probably
you and I will go like
the best like game that performs well on stream, because there's something very visual about it. There's something very engaged about it. Like whereas like Devils in the Details would be a fucking like, that'd be really stupid to watch somebody play. But like fucking something like Talking Points is so outwardly visual that I think that one would be really funny to break out on stream at some point. I genuinely think doing Jackbox night streams could be just fun in general, not even as like a oh yeah, we're streaming just Jackbox. It's like, no, yeah, we're doing like just the one time, but we're doing just random Jackbox games that we enjoy. I think that could be a fun idea. But anyway,
that one's like a you present something and it's funny, because then you present something that's like, oh, why you suck and I hate you. And you get random images with it, and you kind of have to.
You don't get random images. You have someone who's picking images for you.
Yeah,
like it's a game where they pair you off with somebody, and then typically what'll happen is one of you is the presenter who is presenting the thing. You get to type in like fill in the blank prompts of like why blank is ruining my life, and it's just like you can fill whatever you want in there, and then you get a set of other people's filled in prompts, and it goes, why avocados are ruining my life? Sure, why not? I'll click on that one. I'll present that.
Yeah.
And then you have to present that. And then another player at random is chosen as your like pair off, as like a, hey, I'll do your images for you. And they get what the next slide is going to say words wise, and they have to pick an image based on that. that fits the theme.
Yeah.
And no, it's a really fun game because like when you're presenting, you have no idea what's about to appear on the fucking screen, and it's like Impractical Jokers, but a Jackbox game. Like this feels like an Impractical Jokers segment. Like you're giving a presentation on some shit you know nothing about, and it's like intentionally set up to make you look a little foolish and a little silly. And I think it's fun. Yeah, I think it's a good time.
It is. And then the absolute cream of the crop of this pack is Blather Round. You pick a topic, and then you have a series of words. Like you have like a drop down of words you can choose.
It's a word game, like charades.
I'm describing
like it's charades, but a word game.
It's like describing Wolverine, and you go, he's the hunky individual. And then you have to get it off that.
Sets of words and like descriptors to fill in the blank with. Like there's like a drop down of like he's, she's, there, it's, and then like adorable, hairy, chunky, slim. Like you get like a set of options, and so it's like, what the fuck is the slim object creature? Oh, ferret. Okay.
Yeah.
Like, you find out what it is in the end, and, like, you end up there, and, like, it's, like, a 2-minute thing of, like, all right, you get to put in as many sentences as you can in the time limit. I don't know if the number of sentences matters as much as, like, the time elapsed. Like, so I just crank out sentences as fast as I can that also make sense. But other people have had the strategy of, I'm gonna let my first one linger and see if somebody can get it in one. Because it is more impressive to get it in one, I think. But it's, like, you know, it's definitely not a surefire way to win the game.
No, absolutely not.
But Blather Round
is very good.
Spoilers. Blather Round is absolutely my top Jackbox game. I think we can agree on that.
Yeah, but then we picked up Jackbox Party Pack 5, and I have to say this one was the most disappointing.
5 was kind of a
I was going off of a list, and the one that I was so excited about was called Patently Stupid, and it's probably the best one in the pack. Where the whole point of it is you just make like objects for dumbass reasons, where it's like, oh man, I really wish that my shit was less shit smelly, and then you have to make up the, like, you know,
the shit freshener.
Whatever the shit freshener or something, and you have to make up a new thing, and then you have
robot
to present
that ties your penis in a knot.
That was the
penis tying
so to
robot.
explain that one, so somebody got the, like, I wish my penis would stop leaking, and Vox was like, oh, this one's obvious, and then drew a little robot that ties your penis, and he was like, yep, that's the penis tying robot. That's obvious,
so that it doesn't leak anymore.
And
I like hoses and shit that won't stop leaking, and it just seemed obvious to me. It seemed like the natural progression of things. Anyway, but that one's fun. That one actually, we haven't played that one in a minute, but I actually really like that one. Yeah, definitely.
The other one
it's definitely one of the better drawing games.
You Don't Know Jack is a trivia game. You Don't Know Jack full stream is what it's called. Mm-hmm. It's kind of bad. It's like, it scares me. I don't know what's going on half the time. Because they just, like, the trivia is fine. They just, like, overlap it with, like, a million different things. So,
the thing about it is, right, these Jackbox games have presenters in them. Not like talking points presenter, but like they have like little hosts that will like guide you through. And You Don't Know Jack is like the flagship Jackbox game. Like it's like the big one that they make that's like branded with their like Jack thing or whatever his fucking like deal is. I don't. Is Jack real? Is he real, or is that like a made up guy?
He's the bald guy.
Well, no, I know he's the bald guy, but, like, is there a real bald guy called Jack that made Jackbox games? I don't know anything about where these come from, dude. Like, you could tell me a Stork just, like, drops them at, like, Jackbox Games Inc. or whatever every, like, couple months, and then they, like, throw them in a pack. And I would probably believe you for a minute, and then think you're really, really stupid after that. And then think I'm really, really stupid for believing you after that. But... like, either way, it's their big flagship one, and so it has, like, multiple hosts, kind of, where, like, it's basically like you have a peanut gallery of hosts chiming in with random bullshit while you're, like, constantly. Well, so you're, like, hearing that and trying to answer a trivia question, and there's cowbell in your left ear, and there's, like, aliens abducting someone on the screen, and, like, half of the letters are covered by Jack's big, bald, shiny fucking head, and, like, there's nothing you can do about it. All these, like, it's like trying to play a game of Smash Brothers where all the assist trophies are out at the same exact time, and it's just like that you can't do anything in this. You can't fucking focus. There's physically no way. But like, no, yeah, I didn't like it that much, weirdly enough, because again, it is their big one, and so I was expecting it to be like the best one, but
I thought it was going to be a good one.
I always find the presenters, or I typically, not all of them, but I typically find the people who host these, the characters that they come up with to host these, like kind of annoying and like a little bit too millennial humor for my liking.
Yeah.
And that's all right. Like, it's passable in every other game, but in fucking You Don't Know Jack, it's like all the time. It's non-fucking stop.
It's painfully so.
Yeah, but this and it's probably like some of the worst jokes content-wise, too. Anyway, this pack also has
Zeepeldome, which is just not a Jackbox. It shouldn't be a Jackbox game. It's like like you have to hit the enemies and you have to aim your character, but it's all kind of clunky because if you're not in the same room and you're doing it off of a Discord stream or like a Twitch stream,
there's like, latency. And then on top of that, if you're like me, because we play a lot of word games on Jackbox, I play on my desktop. I pull up Jackbox TV on desktop and do it that way so I can type faster. And so playing Zeepeldome with one monitor with a Jackbox.tv thing and tabbing in and out is a fucking wreck. It is a wreck to try to do that.
Yeah.
If we ever do that again, I'm joining on mobile.
Not a great one.
But I didn't really have that much fun with it one way or the other because it's not really what I want out of a Jackbox game, you know? I don't know.
Yeah, I want to just kind of like have a silly fun time with my friends and not like work together to like
the drawing games and the word games or whatever are good, but I think that like once you stray a little bit too far from that like simplicity, it becomes like, what the fuck are we doing? You know?
Yeah.
Anyway,
Split the Room is also really good. I've had a good time with that one.
Oh, right, that's the one where you try to say something controversial and like decisive enough that like or not indecisive enough that like everybody else who's playing like picks yes or no, but they evenly split. That's your objective, is to get a 50-50 split on like, yes, I would do this, or no, I wouldn't, you know? And it's a pretty good game for it. I don't mind it very much. It's really fucking difficult to win it for me. I don't know.
Well, because you do like funny things is the issue. Like you and I got away from it. But like the initial that, like, if you do the bit,
the initial instinct for me is just go for a joke where like the funniest, like obviously the real answer to this is no, but the funny answer would be yes. And like we play with so few people, we play with like 5 people max, to like the point where it's like if I can get 2 of these 5 other people to click the funny yes answer to this that no reasonable person in all seriousness would ever click, then I've done it. And so I try to come up with something so outrageously yes or no that like it would be funny to go the other way, because I know what I would do in that situation, you know?
Yeah, of course.
And so like I'm building questions for like people who think like me, and I guess that should be the way that it is. But like it just doesn't work out. It just does not fucking work.
And the last one of this pack that was overall disappointing is called Madverse City. You play as like robots, and then you have to type in rhymes, and you have to make like a rap. And it can be pretty cringe. And it can definitely be an issue when you don't know English as well. Like, not to say this sounds like I'm not a native English speaker. I am. I'm just bad with grammar. I'm like a math and science oriented person, and that's how I've always been. And I can't play this game as well as some of the other people, but it's an okay time. What do you think about Madverse City, Vox?
I think I agree with you in that, like, there are times in Madverse City where you fly very, very high, and like some of the funniest Jackbox bits some of us have ever done were Madverse City like rhymes. But like then again, the majority of it is just like, all right, that's okay, yeah, because you're on like a time crunch to get the fucking thing out there. I always think the timers are a lot more of a problem than they are in these games. I'm always like the first one done. And I put like half the effort you guys do into some of this shit just because it's like, oh shit, I have 2 minutes, I have to go. And then I speed it out. I speed out the basics of what I'm doing, whether it be like a drawing or like writing something. And then like I go back and I detail it. But sometimes there's just not much I can do with how little or how basic I've done the drawing or like the concept for the text, you know?
Yeah.
And that's all right. I always end up being a little short on the timer. And so, like, this game especially was a victim of that, where, like, man, the timer seems short as hell, and that it's not short as hell.
Yeah. Yeah. But overall, Mad vs. City is fine. It's definitely an okay one. And then our final pack that we picked up, and we picked this up like 3 days ago, was Party Pack 10, the newest one. And it is pretty good. We've got Dodo Re Mi, which is like Guitar Hero, but you're playing like fuck ass instruments, like somebody like flicking their cheek type of thing. And it's fun enough. You have to be in a mood for it. It's another one that's like time. It's not a Jackbox game. It's more of like a Guitar Hero sort of thing.
I think it hits the mid ground pretty well for like this is just about as complicated. This is where a Jackbox game should top out, I think, in terms of like complexity. And again, playing over a Discord stream, there's a little bit of latency, but like that latency is kind of solved by like the fact that they make you resync with the thing before every song, and so you have a chance to do it and like not have the latency in it. And it's even funnier because I realized about halfway through that the way we were doing it, of course, because we're in Discord in separate rooms, and so we're not hearing each other's like instrument, and the instrument's supposed to be coming out of the device you're using to play the game on. And so like I realized very quickly that if you're like because like the ending is like you do it on your own and all you can hear is your own instrument, and then when you're done you get to listen to all of them together and you get scored. And then I realized last time we played it that wait, if we were doing this on our phones in a room together in like a living room with this up on the TV situation, then we would be hearing each other's instruments anyway. And so like it struck me very fast that like wait, fuck, you're right.
So it only plays, it doesn't play your like fib notes. It only plays like whether you got the note on time or not.
That's the only downside to me.
Yeah, overall that's a pretty good time. The next one is Fixie Text, where you get like a text that's like, your boss is firing you. What do you say? And it gives you a prompt of like, really? What did I do wrong? And then you can type anything on either side of it. And you have to pick your favorite added words to the sentence, and then those favorite added words, the next group of players will then get to use those words to continue a different sentence. So then it'll be like, well, I didn't like this work anyway, but then it adds on top of it, it was so squeeble. And then you have to deal with having squeeble in your sentence. And it was fine. It's a lot of visual noise.
I think I might have misunderstood it. The first time we played it. Just because like we haven't played it since. We played it one time and went, this shit sucks, and then got out of there immediately. But like it did kind of suck. It was definitely one of the weaker word games. I think it's definitely one of the weaker word games to me. It ranks low, I think. But you want to talk about what else is in this pack?
Yeah, my favorite trivia game is in this pack. No, I don't have anything else. That's all. My favorite trivia game of every Jackbox game that we've played so far that are trivia is by far Time Drinks. Which the concept of it is you start in the past where it's like, when was Elton John was born, and then you have to put in a date, and whoever's closest is, they get less points, whoever's closest, and whoever's further away, they get more points. And it's like golf where you have to have the least amount of points to win. And it slowly ramps up until it gets to future questions that like we had one where it was like Elton John celebrates his 100th birthday, and then you have to choose the date.
You're making it sound like these are all about Elton John. It's Elton John trivia.
Did I say Elton John twice?
You said Elton John for your like example of a past question a minute ago.
Oh my god. Elton John is living rent free in my head. It was just the one that came to mind.
It was just the most recent question that was one from last night in this particular game. But go ahead. You were saying?
And I think it's a good time. I think that game is a lot of fun. It's still a trivia game, so it still is kind of like but it's a little bit more pop culture rather than like sorry, I can't just continue my sentence like that.
It's easier to navigate. It's easier to navigate because they're not open-ended questions. It's just, what year is it? Here's a gap of like 100 years. Fucking go for it.
Yeah.
Figure it out.
You just kind of guess. And that's a good time.
Yeah, so
and then there's
make
a
informed
game.
guesses. Yeah.
Yeah. There's a game called Hypnotorious, which was a pretty good time. I want to come back to it again. But we couldn't.
I want a sober game of that because, like, I don't think you got it, and
I didn't understand it.
I was having trouble with coming up with prompts for, like, the thing that I got, because, like, the thing that I got was the genie from Aladdin, and like, one of the things that it asked me about him was, like, the first question it asked me about it was just like, what would your character do if he were in an ice skating rink? And it's just like, I don't fucking know, dude. He's never been anywhere near that scenario. How the fuck? And even if he was, how would anybody get the connection I'm going for here? But some of the questions are like, where's your character from? You know, and those ones are fine. Those ones are a lot easier to come up with answers to that would lead somebody in the right direction. But I don't know, man. You didn't get it, and I think everybody else we were playing with kind of got it, and I definitely got it by the end. But I definitely want to circle back on it and see if it's super easy and that we were just being idiots. Because I think we might have just been being idiots.
Because like the idea is that like you get, you know, whatever your prompt is, and then you have to have something you have to group yourself into a category. So you may get the Genie of Aladdin, and then somebody else might get like I don't know, some other.
These are big
Superman.
Categories.
They get Superman.
Yeah, and then the answer is animated characters, and it's like, fuck, dude. Like they have one thing in common that you would never link these two characters together for. And then one person, of course, gets one that does not match the category, and you have to like seek them out, you know. And even they don't know who they are because they think they're in the category too, as far as they're concerned, you know? And so it's definitely a game like Faking It, but where you're all kind of on the same little sleuthing team of trying to figure yourself out too. And I think it's just a lot of mental energy, that one. I think it's just like a lot of mental energy. But I liked it. I did like what I played of it, and I would like to go back on it again. I just, you know. It's definitely one that requires some thought. What else is in this pack?
The final one, the cream of the crop, TKO2.
We had mixed opinions on TKO2.
Did we?
Yeah,
I thought it was good.
I feel like we're pretty mixed. I liked it. Well, because a lot of the complaints were like the complaints that I heard the night we played it from everybody were just like, oh yeah, I miss the old announcer, and I kind of liked the little characters that we had in TKO1, and now in TKO2 they're like the faker from Faking It, or like fucking this character from that game, or like a robot from fucking Madverse City, or like this or that. And that's cool. I actually quite like this like interconnected like thing they're doing, or like a devil from Devils in the Details, or like the cat from fucking like what's that one? Was that Hypnotorious?
The Split the Room.
Oh, Split the Room. No, that's him. Yeah, no. But like, there's like a bunch of those, and they're selectable, and it's cool to play as those characters. I think that's neat, but I also miss those characters too. I didn't really feel like we got much out of the option of having them be a sweater or a tank top. But you know, whatevs. I think it kind of came out fine. I think I like TKO2. I think it's a market improvement. The one thing that improved upon that I do like about it is like, yep, if you're done with your first shirt, we're going to give you a big 2 minutes per shirt is the first game. They give you 2 minutes to do your first shirt in. If you finish early, good for you. If you don't finish, you do that shirt on the next one. On the next like timer. And then in TKO2 instead, it's like, here's a 6-minute timer to do 3 shirts in. I'm going to do little call outs for when you should be about done with your first shirt, and when you should be starting your second one, or when you should be wrapping up your third one. And so it's
then
like,
you get like a little mini game to do when you're finished.
Do you get a mini game to do? I took the whole fucking time on all 3 of my shirts, so I didn't get to see
get a little like mini game where you can like spam a button, and if you spam it enough times with everybody, you get like a plane fly across screen with like some character from another game.
You get a little thing, because you get one of those in Madverse City too, where you can like call a train and shit. It's interesting. But no, but TKO2 is good. I think TKO2 is like, you know, other than our like surface level complaints, as a game, it's definitely an improvement over the first one. It's definitely an improvement. It definitely helped my timer issue to have like the announcer in the background going like, all right, you've got a minute and a half left. All right, you've got a minute and 20, like every like 10 to 30 seconds. And it genuinely did help me keep better track of that. Because even like even the sober mind, you know, I'm on one monitor here tabbing over to draw, and so it's like I can't like add
you don't know
like the timer on it. I got no fucking clue until it starts counting down, and they put intense ass music behind it, so you'd never fucking know. You know?
Yeah.
But anyway, that was our last game out of all of them. You want to put together a top 5?
Top 5.
I think we can firmly we're putting one together. Yeah, together. Fuck
it.
I think number 1 is Blather Round. I think we agree on that.
Easily.
Right? Easily. Number 2, I almost want to include TKO in it. I would do TKO 2, but again,
I would say TKO and TKO 2. But
I like the vibe of TKO 1 more, but one or the other. Fuck it. We gotta be with this shit. Would you go 2?
I think
if
TKO
you want to go 2, I
is
could be
just
convinced.
better. I think TKO 2 is just better. Like, the improvements that they add, it just makes it like the game, but better. So I think that goes to my number 2 slot. I think my number 3 is probably Faking It. Just because that one's changed our
that one's like a top
that
fiver.
One's changed our vocabulary to a degree.
Yeah,
we're
I
think it
people
the
faker outside of that game now just for shits. It's a funny bit. It's like a when the imposter is sus, except fucking faking it.
And like just for us.
And just for us cringe. A little bit, kinda. Yeah. No, but like I think Faking It at 3, I might petition to move that downward potentially. Talking points in the top 5. If it's top 5, it's 5. If it's top 5, I think it's 5.
Yeah.
What about that 4 slot? What are we putting in there?
4. There's like, oh man, it's hard. It's really difficult because I want to say like Quiplash doesn't really get it. Bracketeering doesn't really get it, even though the bracketeering's a kind of good time. Survive the Internet might get it. That was a fan favorite from
Survive the Internet is a good 4, but
yeah,
I don't think any in that like first pack we got, even though it was a banger pack, I think we only got better from there, really. Like as the packs went on for a bit there. I don't know that Devils in the Details makes a top 5 for all Jackbox games. I liked it, and we have a decent time playing it, but I don't know that it makes that top 5.
It's just not quite Jackbox.
4 is a weird slot to fill.
I think
really
4 goes to Survive the Internet, honestly. That or like
it's probably one of my favorite. It's probably one of my favorite word game. It's probably my favorite word game. Is not Fibbage. Survive the Internet. I think that might be my favorite game about words that we have access to. And that's our fucking top 5 Jackbox games.
Yeah, I think Talking Points gets number 5. So there you go. So we got.
If you don't own any of the Jackbox stuff, then go pick something up from that and go play it with your friends. It'll be a good time. We swear. So you want to recap our top 5 here?
Blather Round, TKO 2. Number 3 went to Faking It. We had Survive the Internet at 4, and then Talking Points gets 5. So fairly even spread across these. With the exception of we didn't get anything from Pack 5.
One drawing game.
We didn't get anything from Pack 5, and we had 2 from Pack 7. So honestly, I would say Pack 7.
Pack
if you want to do anything,
the objective best to you is that it covers the most of our top 5. I think so. I think it speaks for itself. Because
it's got some really good ones. Because it's got Blather Round. It's got Champed Up, which is a good drawing one. I would say Champed Up is interchangeable with TKO.
I'd say Champed Up is a slightly worse substitute for TKO. I think if you swapped Champed Up for TKO, I'd be full thumbs up. 7's the one you should get every single goddamn time. But I think Champed Up is a fine replacement for it. It's okay. If I wanted to play TKO and somebody went, "Oh, I only own 7. Can we do Champed Up instead?" I'd go, "Fuck it. Yeah, we can do Champed Up."
Yeah. It's got Devils in the Details, which I think is the okay one of them.
It's a good game to have
it's a fun time if you have enough people.
It's a good variety game to have, yeah.
Yeah. And then Quiplash, which gives you a little bit of everything. And it's Quiplash 3, so it's the better of the 2 that we own. So yeah, I do think I would recommend 7 the most.
7's pretty good.
Yeah. 7 I think
7's a pretty alright one. I think
because 3 has Faked It and TKO.
Yeah, I think 7 and 3 are probably our favorites. Weird odd numbers. We never tried that like demo survey program thing they had out. I want to see if that's still like an option.
Well, that's $10. It is. It's an option.
It came out?
$10. Yeah.
Oh, well, maybe we'll pick that up at some point and try it.
Just
because that was one that I intended on trying when it was like a demo available. Yeah, we'll report back on that. Another thing I want to talk about this episode is that we're finally getting back on our Walking Dead shit. We talked about The Walking Dead a little bit on the show.
Oh, yeah.
In the past, when we were actively watching through the series as a group. Jed had already seen it. I had seen some of it, but not all of it. And we were just watching it as a group just to watch it. And then we watched all the spin-offs, at least partially. We kind of fell off on, like, Daryl a little bit.
Daryl in Paris.
Like, Daryl's, like, trip to France didn't really sit with me. I think Daryl in Paris lost me, like, minute 1. The idea that this character, like, with no explanation of how he got there, he's just washing up on the shore in fucking, like, in France for some reason, with, like, nuns.
Yeah, I don't know. It lost me. And I don't know, Daryl's character was less interesting when he wasn't with, like, Rick or somebody else that he already had ties with.
Which makes sense. That's very true to his character, that he would be just, like, a less interesting character to watch when there's nobody he really cares about around, you know?
Yeah. And, like, I think that was the biggest issue, is that they kind of gave us just a new cast of characters for Daryl, and Daryl's a very, like, ride or die for life kind of guy, so new people are a lot less of his forte. And I think I think that's what killed the series for me. But yeah, nobody understands how black powder rounds work. Nobody understands how black powder shit works in that show. And it bugs the shit out of me. They're turning the guns upside down, brother. You're losing all your black powder out of the little, like, slot that it holds it in. It was some bullshit. I was pissed about it.
You were mad about it. You were mad about it, like, for like half an episode when we were watching it. It was part of what took me out of it, even. But
because they were shooting twice.
We're starting Fear the Walking Dead soon. Move on. I can't be talking about black powder for an hour and a half. But we're starting Fear the Walking Dead soon. Maybe even tonight, potentially. And I'm very excited for that. I'm very excited to be getting back to the world of The Walking Dead and getting back to sort of early Walking Dead too, because, like, it picks up fairly early in like the apocalypse, right?
Yeah, it picks up before the apocalypse, I think.
Like, we're just watching a different cast together every time, whether it be the game or like the Walking Dead Telltale series or like the live action series or the comics. Every time there's like a completely new cast of characters, like a new, like, survivor group to look at, I'm always so fucking down. Every single time, even if it has some, like, familiar faces in it. So I'm actually quite excited for Fear the Walking Dead, because I think The Walking Dead is a universe that works really well as an anthology universe that can tell many stories. And so I'm excited to see more tales from The Walking Dead, I guess. In Fear. And that, I think, is something we'll also report back on. Because
I think so.
I think it's about time we wrap, Jed. You want to wrap us out?
Yeah. I will. Thank you guys so much for watching. You can always watch these episodes every day, Sunday at 3 p.m. EST. We have our card down below that has both of our socials under the about the the hosts page. You can find our socials there. You can find the socials for the actual Fight About It account there as well. And I don't really have an ending bit.
You don't really have an ending bit?
I guess. You've been acting. Are you the fucking faker?
Am I the faker? No. No,
yeah, you're the faker.
My prompt said, make the face you would make if you were on Vox and Jed Fight About It. That's what I'm doing. That was what the prompt was.
That's some bullshit.
No, it did. It did. I didn't react late, dude. I didn't. I was on time. I did it immediately.
So you reacted so unbelievably late.
Also, did the game freeze? We've been doing this round for like 2 hours, dude. We've been this, like, make the face you would make on Vox and Jed Fight About It prompt for 2 hours. How did that happen?
We haven't had a vote yet.
Here, I don't know. I'm gonna stop the game. I'm gonna turn the game off and back on. Hold on.